What up, though? And welcome back to I'm Growing Man. It's your man John D in the building. So, what I'm gonna do, or what I'm going to attempt to do, is uh instead of going so off the top, I want to uh kind of share my thoughts with you guys because this is what I'm recognizing when I discuss relationships with men. Um, I think there's a misunderstanding of, I don't know. So today's episode is going to be about me sharing my perspective on why relationships are failing as a whole and what we can do to turn that around. Now I will say this, everybody can win. When I say everybody, if you put in the work, you will get what you deserve. If you don't put it, if you're not, goes to all of you. If you're not happy in your relationship and you want it to work, what I'm going to give you will completely change the dynamics of how you view that relationship. This goes for women also. And I'm going to tell you this. My wife didn't know that I could become the man that I am today. And she still doesn't know what it's going to look like. I created a podcast to learn how to communicate and deliver a message to help men grow in ways that I don't believe we've been challenged. And I am going to attempt to come up with words that's going to change the mindset of all men. I've been on this journey for about 6 years now. And the more I learn about this journey, the more I'm excited about seeing what's going to happen. You know, I don't worry about things I can't control. And it's given me so much more focus on things that make me happy. And a happy me, it makes a happier environment. And I believe that wholeheartedly. So I wrote some things down. So I'm not good with editing. I can't afford anybody to do this stuff for me. So I asked ChatGPT to kind of give me some points I need to discuss. And the reason why I'm sharing this because a lot of the writing that I have now, it's all polished by ChatGPT. But ChatGPT and I have a pretty good relationship. I definitely give as much information as I can so that if anybody is watching, maybe we can push a different message where humans could benefit. But I think as a man, we need to consider that maybe we're immature. And the reason why I say that is because before I went on this journey, I didn't realize how many people are not on this journey. Like, everybody has the freedom to do whatever they want, right? But I don't have people around me that are telling me that they're working on their craft every single day to develop something they haven't seen. And if they are, they haven't shared it with me, but everybody around me know what I'm trying to do. And I feel like when you truly mature, you'll value your own time and you will be very useful with your time. You wouldn't let anybody waste it more than a moment because you can only control what you can control, right? And you could get caught up. But overall, if you're more intentional with your life, like on a daily basis, that's a different level of maturity. You know, I remember when I first started and people were like, they were like, you too hard on yourself, or you gonna work yourself to death. And I'm like, I just didn't understand that because I understood it on other things, but as far as working on yourself, how could you get tired of working on yourself? Like to me, that's backward thinking. If you think you really think that, like you're the most important person in the world, and it deserves pretty much all of the attention. The immaturity in men, and it doesn't matter your ethnic background, your your class, station, uh, it doesn't matter. Anybody can develop some habits that will allow them to continuously work on themselves. You know, when you're a baby, people feed you and then you learn how to feed yourself, right? And when I think about information, if you stop going to school, what are you doing to continuously find information? Because we don't know. There's so many things that we don't know. But if you don't intentionally look for things, you're hoping that your friend group is going to bring some new information to you where you can be like, but I'm gonna tell you, if you look at your friend groups, if you guys don't talk like that, where are you getting the information for you to continuously grow? So I do believe that we should get into a practice of constantly learning new things. And honestly, you don't really have to learn new things. You could just learn the things that you know really well. And then things will start to change. I'm telling you, when you work on yourself, doors open that you didn't even know were there. And typically people only work on things to like look for money. Like, and this is one thing that I've learned on this journey also. Like people are really gone off of like the idea of an abundance of money because they want to be able to do whatever they want to do, right? But you can have all the money in the world, and if you're not right on the inside, you're just going to be not right on the inside with a whole bunch of money. And you're more dangerous like that because you think you can buy these things. You can't buy improvement. You have to put the effort in to improve. And I don't believe mankind believes that they should be in a continuous evolution of mastering a craft. And the most important person in the world, like I said, is you. Why wouldn't you learn to master yourself? Mastering yourself, it's that is the journey of life. I think that's what it is. I'm addicted to trying to improve and improve myself. And I want to master myself. And I believe it at some point. And when I say mastery of self, there's so many different things, but the things that I focus on, y'all know, communication, that's all forms of it where nobody can misunderstand you. And the person that's receiving the message will receive it without any type of, negative feeling. Like, I feel like when you can go that way, you put this effort in making sure that you have less conflicts around you. Activity, remember, you got to have 8 to 10,000 steps a day. Walking is a very healthy exercise, and I believe that everybody, including young people, should get into it. You have to drink half your body weight in water. Uh, you need to, you could do push-ups, sit-ups. Like I said before, you don't have to go to a gym, but if you're a gym rat, go for it. But if you have a money thing where you don't have as much money, you can still get healthy by doing basic calisthenics. I mean, everybody knows how to do some push-ups. And if you can't do push-ups, get on your knees and then, work yourself up. But you have to master these things in your life to reap the benefits that you're truly looking for. So we got communication, activity, the diet. If we can teach young kids how to master a diet at a young age, they won't worry about nearly as much self-esteem issues or anything related to that. because when you master the diet, you can master the diet where you can still enjoy the deliciousness that man has created, but you understand there's a possible addiction from the sugar. So in your genetic makeup, you're not even thinking about like, why would somebody overindulge in this? But if you don't have an understanding of how to master the diet, it's a problem in a lot of people's lives today. Like, I don't know where we are in obesity, but nobody wants to be there. Nobody went on a journey to go there on purpose, and somehow we got there, right? But if we can learn to master the diet, we'd have better esteem of people that would understand the addiction that a lot of people were born into. Just think about it. A lot of the sugar that was invited in your life had a lot to do with your parents providing things to you and don't even know the significance of this thing. And then the ball is rolling. That it's already hard to parent, let alone creating an addiction in your kids on purpose through sugar. And I'm not saying you can't have sugar, but these are one of the things that I think the problem with the maturity in men, because diet is so important. It helps maintain the body. Food is only fuel, but we're so great at doing things like making food delicious. We get in this idea that it's okay as long as I work out. And that's not really the case. You know, you shouldn't overindulge in anything. We have to make better decisions as human, and I'm not saying we can be perfect, but we should be improving so that we don't have to have what is it? The consequences of a poor diet. People are like I had people die in their 30s being overweight. Like there's nothing good about that. That parent had no idea what they were doing with with their kids. So with the information we have today, we have to take that seriously. And then the last part, as far as the maturity in men, is emotional intelligence. And I feel like if we can truly control our emotions, like we're less likely to overreact. And I think that we need to come up with better ways to help. I know people have therapy, counseling, but at a young age, we need to come up with a game plan to help even as we grow. Because when I was young, I remember, you know, you would feel this way and somebody will say that and you just associate it with that. But there's so many feelings that haven't been described in the proper sense. And it's like we can't explain it. But if we learn to control them and then learn about them, I think, like I said, we would respond differently. So if we focused on these things that I'm talking about, I do believe that man will start the process of maturing, because this life we do have is very short. It's crazy for me to say that because as I was telling you guys, Cade, communication, activity, diet, and emotional intelligence, like I'm telling you these ideas, and I was just thinking in my head, like my experience as a kid and what my parents introduced me to and didn't even know what they were doing. And I think that stunted the growth of humans because we don't understand how important those things are. Those are something that can continuously get better. So I don't understand why we don't push that idea to master self. Because if you master yourself, you'll be able to do anything you want. We need to create a movement of people wanting to improve through intentional work. And that will, like when you do that on purpose, it's a different maturity, because that means you're more aware of the time that you don't want to waste. And less it's helping you grow as a person. What the way that I want to grow, I want my kids at some point to look back and be like, he was on that. And even my students, like I am, I was, look, I want to share this with you. So I was talking to a colleague, and, I remember when I was a teacher, and, you know, most teachers are not able to cut off when they get off work because they have to grade papers or they have to do something for the next day, some type of planning. But I've met teachers in my 25 year uh in my 25-year practice. I've met people that were able to just go home and turn it off. I didn't know if that was good or bad, but I know in my position, I have not turned off. I am in constant I'm constantly working on different things that's going on to improve the school. And the benefits for me are it doesn't prevent me from enjoying my life, because the things that I feel like the school needs to improve on is me, first of all, is just working on myself. So I'm always thinking about what can I do to change some behaviors, because when these students leave us, in my mind, I just want to plant a seed to say, it's time for you to start maturing. You have to focus on these areas. But a lot of these things are so far away from my students, I can only just plant a seed because, I only see them so much, in one given moment. And, even teaching, like you only get them an hour out the day. Me and my wife was discussing how that's just like a smallest percentage you're just hoping to plant a seed. And to be an educator, it takes a different energy where you have to learn to turn it off because it can overwhelm you. So I've met some people that's able to do that, and it's a balance that I don't know if educators should have, because I think when you're able to turn it off, that means that you have things in everything is in order. There's no room for improvement. That's in my mind. So if we just spent a little more time in our craft, I think that would help us mature as men. It just takes intentional work. Um, my second thing I need to do, oh yeah, this is the thing. When you're wrong about something, you being accountable and owning up to it is a different type of maturity. And it comes with a lot of integrity. I that is my that's my number one thing I believe in. When nobody's around, I need them to believe that I'm going to do the right thing. Like I've returned large amounts of money. I've I've turned in wallets. Like I've done things that because I feel like I want somebody to do back for me. But looking back, I don't know if it was just I was in the moment or whatnot, but typically I want I want to do the right thing, because the person on the other end, I've been that person where you like, golly, I gotta call these cards and get them canceled. I gotta get an ID. I gotta do this. It's just like so many things that you just feel like, why, So I try to do the right thing, and I believe if we owned up to our past mistakes so that we make sure we don't do them again, and this is one thing you could do. Like I do this. I've been doing it since I started to I've write. I'm telling you, I'm not a great writer. And it's not even that to become a better writer. It's to help me articulate my thoughts. It's to help me talk about the things that I want to do. So it's in writing. Habakkuk 2:23 says if you write it and it'll happen. So I've been in the practice of just trying to create and inspire people who may not have the best environment that they live in. And me owning my past mistakes, and I think I do believe I've told my wife everything that could come back to haunt me because I wanted her to know that when I went on this journey, I was going to own each and every single thing that I did in the past that could possibly stop this relationship that I promote so much. Like it just changed the person that I was when I was able to become honest with her. And I'll tell you this, before you get into a relationship, you can avoid all of that. But, I grew up with not the best examples, and not to say that they weren't trying to lead me in the right way, but I just didn't know how to do it. Now that's why I say like the maturity part changed when I owned up to understanding why I was doing the things that I was doing or acting the way that I was acting or talking the way that I was talking. To this point, I understood why I was like that. And this is the big thing. If you understand, it's easier for you to walk the way that you want to. And a lot of people, I don't think they understand how easier it is in life when you master yourself. Everything's so much easier. And I think that we like being busy and like being seen. But if you take care of yourself, people gonna watch and you'll enjoy your life that much more because a lot of times we're distracted and maturity will reduce, like as you mature, you're going to notice your distractions and you're going to limit them because time is too precious. But that is the part of maturing that I'm talking about. Okay. And the last part, action creates maturity. So in order to truly like accept the idea that you want to get better, you have to be completely honest with yourself. You should journal. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to share some things that I think helped me mature along the way. Now, I do believe that I was able to mature because I was alone for such a long time. Um, when my family moved back to the States, I was by myself for about 20 months. I came home on breaks, but it was just quiet and I've never lived like that before. And a lot of self-reflection came where I had to figure out how did I lose my family? And because I was financially ignorant, and then when, as a man, when I realized I was financially ignorant, I could say that out loud. I had to ask myself, what else didn't I know what I was doing? And then when I started to break it down, I was asking myself, why was I doing those things? And why didn't I know enough to not be there? And I had to be accountable for just being ignorant. I didn't know better. And that's crazy to be a 40-year-old man I want to say I was 41. Yeah. And just just the simple reflection of the things I was doing, I was too arrogant for my own good. And I don't think I had any type of consequence that could change my behavior other than me losing my family the way that I did. And that was tough because I had to go birthdays without my family, their birthdays, like we're a real family and like I can't even celebrate them because I was financially ignorant. So when I started to be accountable for the things that I was perpetually doing on a daily basis, I was I became a different person. I realized how much time I was wasting on things that didn't even matter. And when I wanted to get back, by the time I got back home, I had created a routine where I was going to polish the person that I wanted to become so that my wife could know that she's appreciated, because she's the one that makes my family so beautiful. Like when I put pictures up on social media, like my kids are happy because she showed me what the inside of a home is supposed to look like, because I just I didn't grow up that way, this way, and I used to always be hating on my kids. Like, why are they getting that? They didn't even ask for that, and I'm like, why are we doing this? And I didn't grow up like that. I grew up like, don't ask for nothing. It's crazy. But I had to realize that I just didn't grow up with enough information to turn into this person. Like some things had to be taken away. Like if you lose your sight, your hearing gets better, or vice versa, like because it helps you navigate. Like when I lost my family, like I had to really dig down, like why? And when I accepted that my upbringing was a little different, and everybody has their own story. So that's why I said everybody can benefit if they just intentionally try to work on themselves to become a better version. Like, like I said, everybody benefits, but the person that benefits the most is you, because you know that it can get even better than that, but it can't without the intentional work that is necessary to improve. I didn't even know I was going to talk this long. I try not to go over 26 minutes. And I don't even know if the edits is going to get less than 26, because according to, the things that I read, an adult that is focused, lasts about 26 minutes on the average, I guess. And I don't want to talk people to death. So I'm going to end it here, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next episode of I'm Growing Man. Make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. GATA. Get after that action, or that action will get after you. Be great on purpose. Boom.